MMA. We are live, episode 4 of the Fred Hampton Leftist podcast. We don't have CJ in today, but it's okay. We got a crew that is willing to do a solid live for you guys today. This is our first get together post Derek Chauvin. You have Jackie Pose in the house, JB Font, RJ, Rome. I appreciate everyone for showing support for our uploads and our content. It's been very fun to see our support grow over the last few weeks, and I'm very excited to see what we have coming up in the future. So make sure you hit the bell, continue to check out our podcasts and shows. Cause me and Jackie, we did a live during the live verdict of the Derek Chauvin trial, and I wasn't ready for it, so we had fun kind of giving our live reaction to it. I joined RJ and Rome shortly after, where we kind of just hung out. We kind of had at least I think they were a little bit more serious before I got there, but we definitely had like a chill for 20 stream. But that's why I want to bring in JB. I want to start with you first because we see the results of the Derek Chauvin trial. I have a lot of thoughts on how a lot of people are kind of spinning this and the the next moves of the ruling class. But I want to get your thoughts on the verdict itself. People haven't heard from you on our channel yet on this issue. What's your thoughts on Derek Chauvin, the criminal justice system? What's your take on the situation in general?
The Derek Chauvin trial, the verdict was, the verdict was correct because Derek Chauvin, he was being held accountable for his actions. It was, the expression on his face was that of surprise. But when you think about the history of police, that's actually the appropriate expression that police typically have given their history. They're surprised because the system is supposed to work for them, but at this point it didn't, which is a small victory as far as justice is concerned, but it's not a victory overall. We still had a 16-year-old, Micaiah Bryant, that was gunned down by a police officer that same afternoon. And, to think about what happened, I saw that, the killing of George Floyd last year, heartbreaking as it was, at the same time, I wasn't surprised because this is something that I've known and I've seen many times before. Many of us in the Black community have seen this many times before. And some factoids that came out was like since between 2005 and 2015, over 15,000 police killings have happened. But Derek Chauvin is only the seventh one to actually, I think, be convicted or charged. I need to be corrected on that. But
charged.
Charged. Okay. So with that being said, then that shows how deeply inadequate the system is. Derek Chauvin is the first step in that 1,000-mile walk, so to speak. So, yes, I am happy, but that's like a first brick being laid in a long brick road. So there's a lot more to be done. And the thing is that true justice would have meant that George Floyd would still be alive today and we wouldn't even know his name because he wouldn't have been killed. That's what true justice would have been. True justice would be that, we wouldn't have a carceral police state and that our prison industrial complex wouldn't have, this ginormous amount of people who are occupying our prisons that are nonviolent offenders. So that's what true justice would mean. So yeah, I'm glad we have a small measure of justice, but I just don't think that it was nowhere near enough.
I like this comment by Tierra House. You can kind of get exactly what I was about to say. And then I want to talk to the RJ next. He gives. I know we did a few lives, but this is our big podcast, so also kind of want to go around and get A1's thoughts because once again, me and Jackie gave our thoughts like live while it happened, and then RJ and Rome did only a few hours after. So now that we had a day to kind of digest what happened, to see how the media is discussing it and spinning it, because that's something I like to talk about all the time because the media shape the mind of the masses. So it's important to see how they frame these issues. But I saw this comment. Let me go back to it while I read it from Tierra House. White supremacy is always willing to sacrifice one or two of their own, so nothing has really changed. And there were a lot of lefties that actually hit the nail on top of the head when it came to the trial because I took a more pessimistic tone. I've been transparent that I don't really cover these trials that much no more because I've seen a lot of them and I don't have faith in my system. So I think these trials are important in terms of educating people in terms of why we should abolish our custodial state because it exposes how corrupt our system is. I think that's the education you get out of it, but I personally don't get anything out of it anymore because I'm already writing op-eds discussing why we should defund the police and have a road to abolition. So I'm already there. But a lot of people made the correct prediction that in this case we could have a victory, but just like Tara said, they're going to use this to try to put people to sleep and say, okay, see, this is example of our system working. So now we don't have to go as hard on police reform that we are being pushed on right now. They already trying to use this as a way out. There was even now I think about it, there was a tweet, and I want to get RJ. I'll bring RJ in this first from Axios. This is around the same time this story dropped. It said senior Democratic and Republican aides who would never let their bosses say so on the record privately told Axios that a guilty verdict in the Chauvin trial has lessened pressure to act on police reform. RJ, what's your takes on? I'll turn to you first. What's your take on that?
My take in general on this is it's kind of what I predicted even before the trial. It's almost like this. It's like, our criminal justice system, it's not perfect. We don't always get it right, but we got it right this time. So that's a stepping stone to better our country, better our democracy, better our criminal justice system. That's what the establishment is trying to do with this. And, the sad part is that it's kind of working for some people, for liberals, of course, who, they bootlick. But what's surprising is some people are saying, too, that, this is a victory, but it's just the start. It's not the finish. And a lot about what happened on the ground is I saw a lot of activists, protesters on the ground. They said, we not only want at least police reform, but we want police abolition. We want to change these communities. We want to make sure we go after these police in our neighborhoods that threaten our lives. And also, we need justice for all the priors like Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Ahmaud Arbery. It's not just about George Floyd. Yes, we got that victory for him, but it's for the victories for the families before him and to prevent some after. And if they do happen, at least we know that we have the groundwork and we have a strategy moving forward. I even saw some people said, hey, we actually put America in a trap. What do you mean, RJ? How do you put America in a trap? Okay, well, here's the strategy now. The thing is, when they kill a black person in the streets wrongfully, you protest, you riot, okay? And then you put America in a corner too, saying, okay, if you don't get justice, and we caught this in 4K, in video, we caught this in audio, and if you don't do it, you know what the results will be next time. So that's why they were heavily incentivized to get this right. Everybody threw Derek Chauvin under the bus. So yes, we got the justice we needed for him, but at the same time, the establishment's always going to take a loss, which they did. They took an L on this, and they're going to try to still spin it in their favor. So that's why everyone threw him under the bus to say, see, the criminal justice system is not perfect. But we got it right this time. So they're using that strategy to spin it to prevent police reform in Congress. Because all of this stuff is connected. So that's why we still have to continue to fight. Just because we got that victory there doesn't mean that we have to stop then. We have to keep going. So that's kind of my initial thoughts on that.
Well said. Well said. Kyle, Jack in here. What's your thoughts? Post Derek Chauvin. What you seen? What's your overall thoughts now that you had a day to get us some thought?
It's the same as on Thursday. The same thing. Like this, it's not a victory
At all.
like getting things finally working the way, not that they should, because to be honest, like the system is working the way it was designed, but for for him to actually face some kind of justice is not a victory. That's just what should happen. So we're just celebrating the fact that it didn't go the wrong way, which is really fucked up when you think about it. So I don't see it like, is it
This
positive? No, it's just so it's not negative, and we're so used to negative that we're like, oh, thank God, it's not, it's not as horrible as we expected, which says a lot about the United States.
the celebration of the verdict itself is an indictment of our country because the celebration is inherently it comes from a place of acknowledgement that the system is rigged against people of color and people in general who is killed by the police state. So that's why the thought of a pig finally going to prison is so shocking to people.
Yeah.
So because that alone says a lot about our country. What rubs me the wrong way, and this is why people should listen to the voices of people of color, black leftists, because I've been sharing my frustration with the liberal class because these same people will celebrate these victories with us, but they actually don't support us on the policy where it actually matters. So, in that essence, they are actually a very effective enemy. So, what are they effectively?
Oh shit.
Oh man, who's dropped mid sentence? Okay,
Well, since I'm next, Jackie, you
go ahead.
basically took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, he's back.
Oh,
There he
you back?
goes.
All right, there
I,
you go.
my dumb ass actually closed halves. I tossed it to Rome though, and I finished
That
my
was
thoughts
you.
in a second. Yeah, that was me. But I tossed it to Rome. I let Rome get his thoughts, and I finished what I was saying.
No,
Uh,
I was just saying that Jackie took the words right out of my brain. Like if I was to say it in any nice way I can, it'd be the exact way Jackie had explained it. This isn't a victory. This is something that should happen. This is something that should happen not only to me and you when we go out and strangle someone. It should happen to someone who has, a job title that puts you in the authority, stands. So it's. I was just talking to one of my friends. We've been friends for 20 something years. We was talking about the Michaela Bryant case, and he was kind of in the middle with this, like, what do they supposed to do? And I was comparing this to, my sister. When my sister was going through, you know, the things that she was going through, she tried to stab someone, in my family, you know, and it took for me to come up to disarm her. You know, I got y'all should know I have guns. It didn't. My first instinct wasn't to shoot my sister to kill the threat, because not only have I been fighting all of my life, like I've been living in the color purple, but I know that I can disarm her. I'm ready for this. This is what I've been fighting and training for. But when you have police officers out here that's trained, and then they get out here in the real world where all that training is just training, this is the real world. How are you really going to react to real situations? And now they snap. They killer instinct come in, and they just shoot first. Even though you have a baton, they could have stumped her out. They could have got her with a taser, a stun gun. They could have. They are basically Batman with these weapons on their belts, and the only thing that they use is guns. So yeah, just like Jackie said, man, all this shit. Everybody want to celebrate. Oh well, we finally got them, and all the memes. Enjoy your memes. Enjoy your laughs, because it's not gonna last. And guess what? Even if the cops that killed Michaela, what I'm saying, goes to prison, or let's say they get off, they are gonna get off. They're gonna get off, and the next person gonna get off. The next cop gonna get off. Next cop gonna get off, and y'all still gonna be sharing those George Floyd memes, because y'all motherfuckers ain't really about that fight. Y'all just wanna keep on feeling good about what happened back in the past, but everything that's going on now, I don't see none of y'all fighting about it. So
Yeah, and there's a good comment um, that said this from Skeptical Mantis. It said progressives need militias for community defense and community service, like the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
Amen. That's why I have my evolution on guns. I think this is why I think the left should be pro gun because we are living in late stage capitalism and things are only going to get worse.
Yes.
So I am not comfortable, especially now we live in a fascist police state, disarming the working class before the police disarm themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm looking at this story where Democrats are being Democrats, where they are trying to use the Derek Chauvin trial to like, yeah, see, this is proof that that the system is working. We don't have to go through major reforms. But there was recently a graph. I want to see if I can find it. I know for a fact that Ryan Knight tweeted out. But if you look at military budgets, the police force will be the third highest military budget
Uh,
in the
uh,
world if you looked at it that way. So who are they waging war
Nick,
against?
Nick,
They're waging war against us,
can you
right,
tell
Rome?
this person on Twitch? Can you tell this person on Twitch that the George Floyd's care at police that wasn't nothing? I'm glad it didn't pass because it was just a bill to give the police money to police themselves. So I'm glad that didn't pass. It would have gave the police billions of dollars. No, that's not what's needed right now. They only named it after him for for black people not to look into it because
Yeah.
when black people they just gonna be like, oh, it's George Floyd, oh, it's good. No, bro, that was a bad bill, and I had actually called out Barbara Lee about that already.
Yeah. And even look, just to add on to Rome's point, that George Floyd bill would have added more George Floyds because it would have gave more money to police. And
Yeah.
so really it's just throwing, gasoline on the fire.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's also too. George Floyd's brother was on CNN and some other mainstream media sites pushing for the bill to be passed, and also said that Biden was a good person. So that's just to add some context to where this could potentially go.
Oh boy.
Can't expect everybody to be deep down in politics like you, RJ. Some people see them cameras and get blinded, you know.
That's what I kind of was discussing earlier. And this is a message I want to get out there. And I want people to actually think about this. You're not going to get this perspective from many different progressives, like someone from a white point of view. I know they will have this perspective because when people float the idea that the Democratic Party and the liberal class are allies, I'm like, that's not the case because just because they tweet in favor of holding police accountable, just because they are happy that Derek Chauvin was held accountable this time around, you gotta understand the Democratic Party take the most money, most police money. They take more money than Republicans. You had Amy Klobuchar, who takes the second most amount of money out of any senator in terms of the police budget. I'm trying to remember who was number one. I want to say I don't. I'm trying to think. Menendez, Bob Menendez from New Jersey. He was number one, and then Amy Klobuchar was number two, and then there was like a giant gap from there. And then when you look at the places where black men are being killed, they were being killed in Blue City that are democratically ran. So they take these instances. They take when cops kill black men and black Americans. They use that anger. They put Black Lives Matter in their profile, and they use that to fund the police more. So isn't that worse than what the conservatives do? Because the conservatives will straight out argue in favor of having a pro police state that polices people of color. Oh, yeah, that's easy to beat. We can beat you in the court of public opinion, like we have been this last year. That's why police abolition and defund the police has skyrocketed in popularity. But what liberal does, they make people think that they're allies by saying Black Lives Matter, by tweeting about George Floyd, but at the same time, they deeply out of touch, and they want to fund the forces of oppression that are responsible for killing us in the first place. So they are a very effective evil. I don't want to. I don't take the side of quantifying where I would say, oh, Democrats are better than Republicans, or Republicans are better than Democrats. I'll just say they are represent evil, and this is a level of efficiency which you can't. The Democratic Party is without a doubt, more efficient at handling and expanding the police state than Republicans. Because when you get a Republican in charge, you get people who care about this stuff. When you get Joe Biden in charge, you have leaders of Black Lives Matter saying we won, even though there was a police shooting literally as they read the Derek Chauvin trial. So that's what the two-party system does. It takes people who otherwise disapprove of the system. Now they more likely to go easy on the system because our boy is in office. Joe Biden's in office. We should still be in the streets. Once again, someone was shot and killed as they was reading the Derek Chauvin trial. So why are we celebrating? why are people being lulled to sleep by Joe Biden and the Democratic Party? And by the way, how do they have the audacity to try to turn the Derek Chauvin verdict into a political victory for them? I had a viral tweet. I'm glad people saw it. Well, I had to remind people while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were speaking that Kamala Harris has never prosecuted a cop in her entire career.
Or the Catholic Church.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually did not cover that story, and I'm mad that story I kind of missed it. But
oh yeah, I was going off, man. I was one live. I got drunk as fuck, and I was talking about her brother was fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Uber, Lyft, shit like that. Then I was talking shit, man. I was even man. That's why I don't monetize none of my pages.
That's why I like doing lives with Rome, man, because I like going live. I like just talking shit sometimes. Like I have my deeply serious political analysis, but every once in a while you just gotta talk shit.
I'm telling you, it feels good to just be like, okay, these people can't take me down if they wanted to. So
I'm gonna give y'all some shit to talk about.
What's going on?
We just got a comment from the VOP USA Twitch from a person called Kit Kat Mommy that says, "How can you be saying such horrible things about police as a general? Yes, there are bad officers, but how can you condemn all? This is just as bad as saying because a few people of any race or religion is bad, then all should be condemned. Sorry, but I will defend the police and stand by them till the end of time."
Hold on. First of all, can I
get
this shit off real quick? Because first of all, police are not a race of people.
Hey, Blue Lives Matter, Rome.
Ain't no blue lives.
That blue uniform that he puts on.
Unless you was in that movie, Liar, with the nigga with the little nigga from Malcolm in the middle. Ain't no blue lives unless you a Smurf. I ain't trying to hear that. Yes, there is evil people, black, white, Asian. That don't mean you know where the evil people go to. That's in races of different races. To the police force. That's where they go. How can there be good officers and bad officers? No, they all roll together. So if you people are the same people that say silence is violence, but then say, oh, there are good cops, but these good cops out here are being silent on these cops' violence, on these cops harassing day-to-day people. We see it. We know it. You don't. And people that got these comments, they live out where I live at. They live out in West Bloomfield Hills. They live out in the burbs where they would never, ever have to talk to a cop unless it's, hey, how you doing, neighbor? They don't have to talk to a fucking cop. They don't have to go through harassment and have a nigga stop you just because you're out of place. So I don't even fucking take people like this serious. But yeah, ain't no fucking blue lives. Yes, we hold everyone accountable in every race. We do that shit because we are not biased. But the police are not needed in any neighborhood. They're not even needed in the suburbs. What do the police need to be given? What our suburbs out here give their police departments over $2 million a year? What do y'all need it for? The most crime that y'all have is domestic violence.
Can y'all see this on the screen? I think I got the audio, so they maybe will listen to this. Can you guys see this?
I can see it.
Okay, I ain't playing the audio. We don't have to really hear it. This is going around Twitter. This is going on Twitter right now. This is posted around noon today.
That's disgusting.
America's #1 police trainer told cops that sex after killing another human is the best sex, a very intense sex. And when you listen to this video, he is giving like a stand-up routine, like they all laughing. I don't think you guys had to listen to this, right? I don't
I
feel
listened to
You,
it.
Nick,
I,
if you unplug your headphones, we might be able to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I was
I'm not trying to play it unless you guys want
Okay.
to see it.
I mean,
Because
the community probably want to hear it. Everybody didn't.
oh yeah,
hear
let's.
it.
All right, I'll show it for you guys. Let's watch it. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
Okay, it's making a very disgusting sound.
Yeah, I know. I think it just glitched.
It's doing the same thing.
Damn,
You know,
yeah.
Haps is annoying. So anyway, anyway, this guy is giving up. What he's doing here is giving a stand-up routine here. He is being funny. This I don't know how you can find this funny, but this is police humor. And this guy is the #1 police trainer who's been training police for I think they said about 15 years. He had this top ranking position. So this guy who thinks police violence and police brutality and this kind of stuff is funny, he get a room full of laughter. These are the people at the highest levels of policing. That person influenced the minds of countless police officers. That guy, he is someone's dad, he's someone's uncle, and he's someone's brother that someone is using. He said, "Oh, see, my dad's a cop. He's a good guy." If you are complicit with this mindset, and I don't know who made that comment, but I pulled this video because I want to talk about it today. But now we have a police bootlicker in the chat. I think it was a good. I think it would be a good time to discuss this. So, if you are complicit with this mindset, if you've seen anyone who had drugs planned on them, if you've seen anyone who was a victim of police brutality, you didn't say anything. By the way, do you know why George Floyd was caught? Was George Floyd caught because one of his police officers at the scene was like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? You are not. You're out of line." No, that did not happen.
Right.
He had an entire police department that did snitch on him. He was found because the video was released, and public demand got him arrested. It wasn't the police officers who saw what Derek Chauvin has done throughout the entirety of his career and was like, "We gotta take him down." You know what? He's defacing our uniform. He is betraying our oath and his service to our country. No, that they didn't do that.
To be
That was their boy. That was their boy. And then he was taken down because of public sentiment. So the philosophical question is: if you have 100 cops and 2 of them are bad, but 98 people didn't report the 2 bad cops, do you have 2 bad cops or do you have 100?
People
I think
don't.
I think you got
People don't
100.
report cops because they're gonna get away with it. So you know what? You know what? I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. Up here, we don't report cops. They're gonna get away with it. They rob our weed dealers. They rob our crack dealers. They rob
That's
us.
facts.
They rob
Facts.
us, bro. Real talk. When the narcs are in town, all y'all niggas better. Debo hit the block. When the narcs are in town, Debo hit the block. Put your chains up. Put your Rolexes up. Put your
Get
fucking
their
rims up. Get your rims off your car. I'm telling you, bro, they're gonna rob you.
Do you guys remember that viral story?
So you know what we do? We'll just get them back. A lot of niggas rob the police out here because they do nothing but rob us. Bro, it's real. Like, people don't understand. People don't understand, bro. They think that the police is just out here. They look, like I keep telling y'all, they looking at us like animals, bro. They look at us like animals. They look at the police like zookeepers, and they want us to be controlled. That's all that shit is, bro.
Do you guys remember that viral story? I mean, this was a long time ago, maybe years ago, of that couple who had edibles and then they called the police because they got too high. And then that was apparently like a police officer, right? And then they got that those edibles out of a civil asset forfeiture raid. So that was Rome brought up when he like, yo, they steal from us. And people like the concept of police doing that, where they just take drugs and use it for their own. God knows how often that happened, because that what that viral story was about. They do it all the time. You guys know they steal more property than us than criminal burglars do. Mm-hmm. And you guys saying I stand with the blue. They don't stand with you, motherfucker.
They
stealing your shit.
It depends, because like she said, I have family as police officers, and the only nigga that take up for these motherfuckers are related to them. Because even if These motherfuckers, like some of these motherfuckers be having family members that are raped one of their other family members. Take advantage or sell drugs, take drugs and do this. And they make all the excuses for them.
Mm-hmm.
But George Floyd, he can't do drugs. But your son do meth. Your nephew do meth. But my nigga can't do drugs.
Like Joe Biden.
All the excuses for him. Come on, man.
Joe Biden can't use
That
drugs.
fucking double-sided mirror.
There's another comment. Chips and Gravy again said, Derek Chauvin is a victim of modern day witch burning. George Floyd died because of Derek Chauvin. However, Derek Chauvin was convicted by a bigoted, ignorant, selfish America.
Damn.
Okay.
Good, nigga,
Let me attack this, please. Okay.
Go ahead, JB.
All right, you want to talk about bigoted and selfish? Look at the comments, okay? Tierra House said American policing wouldn't exist if black people weren't brought to the United States to be worked to death or brutalized. That's the truth. Okay. Number one, the number one reason why this country is the way it is because capitalism. Because capitalism was what they brought us over here for because they didn't want to be able to pay us. So therefore, they just wanted to make pure profit. That's the whole reason why they went and bought African slaves over here. And don't you give me shit about, oh, well, people in Africa, you know, they were slaves when they were in Africa and they just bought the slaves from there to here. No, don't give me that shit because guess what? They shouldn't have been done in the first place. Two wrongs don't make a right. Number one. Number two, the fact that we experience systematic racism. If you get arrested and you're white, you didn't get arrested because you were white. Okay, so stop that fucking bullshit. If I get arrested, part of the reason is because I am black. Okay, so I want you to shut the fuck up and listen and learn what we have to tell you because guess what? Every single time you guys talk about, oh, this reverse racism bullshit. If it's reverse racism bullshit, then guess what? Why aren't you the ones being oppressed? Sit down. Sit down. Sick and tired of it.
Dude, so I may know never ever cross JB sideways.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, but we have another comment though. So the same person commented right when JB was talking. She said, "Chips and Gravy" again said, "Capitalism bought your earphones." JB. So any quick comment off of that?
Capitalism bought every motherfucker.
No, actually,
tell him, Jay.
No, actually, a lot of this technology was actually done by colleges that are public. So public colleges, which are run by the government, actually were the ones that developed these things in the first place. And so then you actually have these companies that take the patents and then they try to make profits off them. So really, in all honesty, really, it was the people who actually created a lot of this technology. And so therefore, it wasn't necessarily capitalism that created it. If you're going to talk about this shit, then get it right in the first place. Don't try to push some stupid capitalist propaganda and try to pass it off as the savior of all. Because guess what? If capitalism was so great, then guess what? We wouldn't be here. Most of the people you're watching on the screen right now wouldn't even be here. We'd be happy in Africa right now. But because stupid capitalist bullshit, then guess what? We're here and we're bothering your ass. Guess what? It's all capitalism's fault. So don't blame us.
The development, the most major medical breakthroughs, I think it was around like 90%, is publicly funded. The internet was publicly funded program. When you look at capitalist innovation, you know what capitalist innovation is? You get 47 flavors at your local ice cream shop. That's capitalist innovation. But if you look at the most effective and the most worthwhile good that has been done to society, it all been publicly funded programs. Mm-hmm. And now imagine the state of society right now if we wasn't hijacked by Reagan era trickle down economics. Now capitalism initially leads to horrible things like U.S. imperialism. It's a inevitability. So imagine if we invested the money that our system spent on private weapon defense contractors, Wall Street bailouts, into public health, the kind of advancements that we can have, the level of quality of life that we can have. So when a lot of people say that capitalism led to our society right now, My take is capitalism is literally responsible for the missed and lost potential of humanity. Because I don't understand capitalist society as it is now. I don't know if Rome going off. I can't.
I don't know, but he's muted.
I'm about to say I don't
No,
know. I don't know if y'all can't hear me or y'all can't hear Rome. I
no,
don't know.
Rome is
No,
mute.
he's
I'm sorry,
muted.
that was me. That
Okay,
was me.
okay.
He was going off.
Let me
him do
toss
his
it to
thing
Rome.
without me.
I toss it to Rome because he was going. I was like, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Let's take it back to Africa.
I'll pass it to Rome.
Before we was bought, because we wasn't bought, my nigga. A lot of people say, "Oh, West Africans were been." No, my nigga, no. Just like y'all thought, Egyptians were slaves. No, they wasn't. They were workers. They were farmers. We were workers. We were farmers. We were builders. We were traders, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Let's take it back. Before then, I had to ask a nigga, a white dude, that was saying, "Oh, well, we have brought y'all over and we gave you all this and that." I said, "Dog, black people made most of the inventions that white people are piggyback off of, and just because of those things right there, that I just taught you these these inventions that black Africans have invented. Do you think Africa would have been in a way better position? West Africa would have been in a way better position if y'all would have just left us alone?" Oh, no, because this and that. No. Because we know black woman made movies, 3D. Black man made the cell phone. It was a black man that made electricity and shit like that. Learn how to conduct electricity, the light bulb. All this. All these people came from West Africa. So you don't think if y'all just left us alone, we wouldn't be a developed nation, a developed country just as well as America is? Y'all had guns. Y'all had shit that was more advanced, but our brains and our bodies were more advanced. Our skin was more advanced for these work conditions. You don't think we'd be better off? So yeah, motherfuckers don't really have those. That's why I always take it back. People, oh, well, you were slaves and you was in the mud. No, we wasn't. No, the fuck we wasn't. Nothing in history tells you that besides U.S. history.
Mhm.
China have been taking history before the Great Flood of Noah's Ark.
The idea, I see some. I think this is the same guy. I don't think we should continue giving too much attention. 'Cause I don't want
No,
him
no,
the
no.
real entire show. But he said,
There's more people than him. Shit. The fuck?
he was implying that capitalism was the reason why we ended slavery. Hey, by the way, dude, you know America was one of the last Western nations to end slavery.
It's still not over.
It's still
And
not
yeah,
over.
slavery's still not
Not
over.
over.
It's still not
they
over.
just
So I dare you to bring up one time that capitalism existed without slavery.
Okay, hold up. I'm
can't.
tagging in. The
Go
Go
comment
ahead,
was
Jackie.
capitalism was the main motivation for the Civil War. Wait, okay,
Yeah,
like
that was
19 people just commented and it disappeared. Hold up. I'm like in the middle of reading it and then the whole screen just jumps down.
Every time.
Yeah,
A lot
because
of
like so
comments.
many people commented.
Yeah.
Here he is. Capitalism was the main motivation for the Civil War, and that was the reason why the North pushed for the abolition of slavery. Without industrialization and the conflict it caused, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. Capitalism is the reason why slaves were in the United States.
like you
So
missed so much.
you can't talk about the second part and not talk about the first part. Okay, where did you get cotton? Where did you get rum? Where did you get sugar? That's all from slavery, all of it, and that's all because of capitalism. So don't act like capitalism ended slavery when capitalism profited off of slavery. Now, I'm not saying the United States
And they still
invented
do.
slavery because a comment earlier you said like, "Oh, Africans had slaves." All nations of the world had slaves once upon a time, including various African nations. But the difference is slavery until around the 1400s, slavery was not race based. Slavery was based on conquering your neighbors or your enemies, and you would make slaves of the people who refused to basically be gentrified when you took over. That wasn't necessarily a race thing. They could look exactly like you, but refuse to listen to your music and dress the way you wanted. So you were like, all right, cool. Now you're going to be our slaves. Or it could be you had a debt, you couldn't get out of it. So
There you go.
you volunteered to be a slave to work off that debt. and then when that debt was repaid, you were let go.
Mm-hmm.
That
But
looks nothing
they
like
couldn't
chattel
survive.
slavery.
They couldn't always have
Nearly
those type
as
of people because
savage.
those people can go home and leave the job. You know, if somebody
Exactly.
paid you $2 and somebody else offered you $4, of course I'm gonna leave the $2 nigga. But they couldn't always go off of that. What is better than free labor? When all I can do is enrich myself. I can spend $100,000, probably $1,000,000 in today's money and make 50 to $100 million, billions of dollars, generational wealth
You
from
know the
slavery.
fastest way to turn a capitalist to a Marxist on accident? Ask them why American capitalism crashes every 5 to 8 years. And then they will give excuses of why that happens. But you guys understand that Marxism is a critique of capitalism. So then they will explain all the reasons why capitalism is broken. And they're like, oh, they make all the excuses, but this, but this, but this, but the pandemic, which is not an excuse, by the way.
It's not.
That's not an excuse because
It's,
capitalism inherently cannot handle a pandemic.
I love
So
y'all
if you
niggas.
can't handle a pandemic, that means that's a
I'm
failure of
gonna
an
leave this
economic
show because
system.
y'all niggas got it. Y'all niggas got it. Y'all
So,
niggas got it, bro. Y'all,
so, so if people, if you arguing in favor of capitalism,
come on, man.
you are arguing in favor of a system that crashes. This system crashes 3 times before I turn 30. Like we've seen the system not work. So what are you arguing for? Like, I literally just asked capitalists that, and then they levy the same criticism of the system that socialists have. Oh well, because the corporations bought the politicians. Why do you think that happens? That's the feature of capitalism, not a flaw. Whenever you have a large amount of people who collect funds and resources, they will inevitably pay off the people who are in charge of writing the laws. This is late stage capitalism. It's only a matter of time. So you reform that, people will collect capital, they will buy out the politicians, they will just reverse it anyway. So that's why I said, that's why I mentioned earlier, the fastest way to turn a capitalist into a Marxist is just simply asking why does the system keep crashing, and then they will tell you in their own words why capitalism doesn't work, and then they turn around and try to prop it up later. It doesn't work that way. You can't be a capitalist propping up your system when the shit keep crashing. If America was like the Jetsons, if the quality of life skyrocketed like 15 plus years instead of gone down, quality of life gone down. It's been going down for years now. Is that a mark of an effective system? If things was going great, if we didn't have a giant homelessness population, we didn't have 70,000 people dying each year because they didn't have health care, if we didn't have people that was literally committing mass suicide because they live in this society where they can't literally do anything but being a wage slave,
Hey, Will.
then I'm like, you got a leg to stay on. But what
Man, this
leg
nigga
do you stand on?
Will, chill, bro. Nobody is saying it's the same as George Floyd, nigga. We saying they could have handled it better. These people are trained and paid by our tax dollars to fucking keep the peace, not kill whenever they feel pressure. Your job is not to be an executioner, and this is why we should take guns away from police officers. If you really want to fucking do your job, do your job. Nigga, if I can walk Detroit without a gun, you can too. You can too, nigga. I got mini guns. So yeah, get the fuck out of here with that pussy ass shit. Anyway, I want to hear from RJ and Jackie. Then I want to hear from I mean JB, Jackie, and because it looked like JB about to snap.
I just want to say too, just about
what you got to say, RJ.
So just the whole debate about slavery, feudalism, and capitalism. The whole point of why the slavery system for America was founded is because you take the labor of a certain class of people, you don't pay them, and you make them completely solely dependent on you, and you profit and you take all the profits from it. Feudalism, what they're talking about, is the same thing. The American version of feudalism that was created in Europe, that was sharecropping in the United States after slavery ended. So sharecropping itself was, okay, you live on the same land that the slave owner has, but you can make profits off of it. But the problem is you're in so much debt that you can never pay it off. Kind of sounds like today with student debt, and also with the low wages, you can never pay it off. So you're in debt to someone for the rest of your life.
Fucking leaving, bro. Y'all niggas got it.
Capitalism capitalism itself really is an inherent centralization of monetary resources to the rich. Marxism itself is a centralization of monetary resources to the poor and to the working class. And so when you rely on a system like that, which gives all those money and resources to a rich and oligarch class, they're the ones that control the market. So really capitalism itself, left unchecked, will allow the big money interests, the banks, Wall Street, the politicians, all to control your life and to control where you go. Marxism itself is freedom because it allows the working class, which is a majority of every country, to have the freedom to do what they want to do, where they want to go, and how to do it, and how to do your own resources. So to rely on a capitalistic system to give you freedom and choices is not necessarily true, because if the small moneyed elites control what goods of production are to be made and who works for them, that's not freedom, that's control. They're dictating what you can do and what you cannot do. So the whole point of to move to a more socialist communist society itself is to give everyone the option to do whatever they want to do and allow all the production that's being made, the profits that are being made, to be solely dictated by the working class, because we are the ones doing the majority of that work. So that's why me personally, I am advocating for a dictatorship of the proletariat, meaning that working class people come together to not only dictate and take over the market and spread the wealth to ourselves, and to prevent the big money elites from abusing our economic system like a casino, and make the greater Americans suffer. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into.
You took him to school. Good breakdown. Great
Thank
breakdown. So, unless anyone got any closing comments, I love.
Literally left.
Ron just dipped.
He said he was like,
here he is.
He's
Yeah,
back.
man, I dip. I had to dip for a minute because y'all niggas got it, bro. What am I here for? What am I here for? RJ got my spot. Like, I already told RJ, like, bro, you way better than me, nigga. Talk like your ass.
For this
like,
one
hello,
individual
my name
that's
is Roman, and I'm gonna murder all of you.
for this one individual that's in the comments, find me on Twitter at Comrade Curls. We can have conversations about this, because we're not going to keep going back and forth with you. I'm nice. A lot of people aren't nice, which is valid. So if you want me to answer your questions, I can be more than happy to do so. But the next topic I kind of want to talk to you guys about, which our audience is pretty curious about, is the manufacturing consent of the mainstream media with the outbreak of the Derek Chauvin trial. There's two instances that I saw: the Nancy Pelosi reaction in front of the Black Congressional Caucus, and Brian Williams saying, "Well, this proves that that young people, if you guys go into the police force and change from the inside, then that's how you do it." So we have two reactions here. We have one with the Nancy Pelosi end, where they believe that George Floyd sacrificed his life, versus the inside-outside plan. So what are your reactions on both stories? And I want to start off with Jackie and JB first, and then Rome and Nick.
Hold on. We just got a donation from Drew Shepard. Thank you, Drew, for the $10. That was awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Damn, $10? You a big baller like that?
thanks a lot.
Okay, so I think everybody knows what my response to Nancy Pelosi's response was, because I kind of said it in real time. Because at first I thought that when somebody said
that real,
comment, I was like, "Oh yeah, she would say something like that," because I was like, "They're joking," and then they're like, "No, they weren't joking," and then somebody was like, "No, there's video," and then Nick played the video, and I was like, "Okay, pack it up, U.S. is done." We're just.
I thought it was a tweet.
The video is worse than the tweet. No, the
tweet was the written version of what she said in like a press conference.
The thing is that the video is worse than the tweet, and that was a lot of people saying because the tweet was the thing that went viral first, and then the video was dug up. But I watched the video afterward, but you would think the tweet was overplaying what Nancy Pelosi was saying, but the video, when you actually watch it, makes it worse.
Oh, I got a comment before. I want to comment on this. So, in the end, guess who defended Nancy Pelosi for saying that? You want to take a hint?
Does her last name start with a C?
Nope, it's not a her. It's a he.
Oh, Ooh.
Oh Jesus!
And he's
Let's
black.
start
He's
with a-
black.
Here's the thing.
Oh,
Oh wait, did you say he's black?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because if you had said Bernie, I would have just ended this broadcast.
Nope, not Bernie.
Couldn't handle it.
Okay, good. Okay,
He
go ahead then. Who is it?
he is
Jason
a
Johnson, Ben Dixon.
no. He is
Bernie
a
is the
CB.
rag doll, though. I ain't gonna lie.
No, he is a CBC member. He is the majority whip for the Democratic Party in the House, and the guy who killed Bernie's campaign endorsing Joe Biden, Jim Clyburn.
Jim Clyburn. Okay.
of course
I
it was
mean,
Jim Clyburn.
That's not even remotely surprising though. Like that's just him.
Yeah.
That's his job.
So
That's
I've
his
been
job.
telling people this is what they do.
Chips and Gravy said something good. You won't have a police force soon. No one will join, and you'll be looking for solutions and invent a police force. That's
Good.
I don't think you understand what the word abolish means, because that's what we're asking for. So
Yes.
thank you. That's what
Actually, I
you
think all the
want.
police. I think all the police should quit in protest of the Derek Chauvin trial. I think that's what they should do.
Lenny, good looking, bro.
We got another donation. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, guys. We appreciate all the support. We
Oh,
really
thank
do.
you
It's-
so
Oh,
much.
this motherfucker. They dropping 10 racks in this.
If you're on the YouTube and Twitch side, subscribe as well. Support us on whatever platform that you guys are watching us on. We appreciate it.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Jackie,
that's what I'm
The
pushing
day
for.
no one
It-
person will join the
overall,
police force will be the greatest day in
all of us,
history.
all of us gonna be in my organization. But overall, this is what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing to put y'all on payment plans. I know all of y'all, at least 3 of y'all have student loan debt. Something medical debt, something I can pay off. If I can get y'all on this plan, get y'all in this organization and get y'all moving around and shit like that, we don't have to wait on these fucking, these safety nets. We don't have to wait on the police. We don't have to wait on none of that because it's like 10 to 20 niggas in your neighborhood in this organization. And you can call them before you call the police. And we're going to have a hotline. We're going to have all that. That's why I'm pushing for us to really not only police ourselves, but take care of each other at the end of the day. Because we know voting and waiting, how long we've been doing that? How long our parents been doing that? Way too long. It's up to us to take care of us. And this is why Fred Hampton Leftists, we're going to make sure that everybody gets up. Once we get up, everybody is getting drugged with us, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I do want JB and Jackie's reaction to Nancy Pelosi's comments, as well as Brian Williams' manufacturing consent. So it would be nice if you guys could comment on that.
What was the Brian Williams part? Because I saw the Nancy Pelosi part, and my response was, "This bitch got to go." But I didn't hear the Brian Williams one.
The Brian Williams one says that young people, since you guys protested, it proves that you guys have to join the police force and change it from the inside in order to get police reform, not abolish the police.
Stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
You mean like the black guy who was watching Chauvin kill? Like that? So we need to do that. That's going to help more of us? Nothing will fundamentally change.
I love when Jackie ass go off.
Y'all killing
you,
this episode, man. I love this episode. We had Jackie go off. We had JB go off. We had Rome go off. I think CJ is like the mood stabilizer. When he's not here, it's
he be
chaos.
calming our ass down like, hold on, niggas.
I'm just sick of this notion that identity politics is the end all be all. Hey, the people murdering you look like you. Now you can't claim racism. Bye. Fuck off. That is not what we're asking.
There you go. And that's why I still call Obama a white supremacist,
which is systemically racist to be dealt with. Again, it's not the apples, it's the roots of the tree. Quit talking about the fruit when the problem is the root.
Mm-hmm. What you say, Rome? Say that again. I want Rome to take on that because he said, "Oh, sorry, JB. Sorry, JB.
JB has to go.
You go,
Let
JB,
and
then Rome. Yeah, sorry, JB.
Oh my,
my bad, man.
No, it's all good. First of all, Jackie, that was a nice rhyme. That was Queen J up in the house. I love it,
bro. You hold on, let me mute my mic.
Yeah, I heard that. Mm-hmm. But the first thing with Brian Williams said, I want to start off with that. If I live in Orlando, Florida, okay, if that was the case, then Representative Val Demings Let's start off with her. She was the chief of police for the Orlando Police Department. She's pushing for more funding for the police instead of divesting from police departments and putting them back into the community to improve the community. So therefore, and she's a black woman, the identity politics does not work. Jerry Demings, her husband, was the Orange County Sheriff. So at the same time she was the chief of police, he was the sheriff of Orange County. So they basically were running the law enforcement in all of Central Florida between them, a married couple. Okay. Now, Jerry Demings now is the Orange County mayor. It is like the Wild Wild West in my neighborhood. Nothing has changed. And I don't see any divestment from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So the thing is, just because it's somebody who looks like me doesn't mean anything. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. That I learned that from, here in Rome, because Rome taught me that phrase. So guess what? Just because they look like us doesn't mean they still won't throw us under the bus. And they think they're doing the right thing because they're black and then they're in the police force. But what good is it? What good is helping black people if you're working for the white supremacist institution that's inherently white supremacist? What good is it going to do? It doesn't help anybody. So number one, Brian Williams is wrong. Number two, Nancy Pelosi can fuck off. Because with all that, what she said, okay, number one, George Floyd didn't sacrifice himself. He was murdered, okay? He didn't get up on a cross or a torture stake and sacrifice his life. No, he was just trying to buy some food. And somebody decided to put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So guess what? No, that was not a sacrifice. And the thing is that it should have never happened, because if this is truly the greatest country in the world, George Floyd would have still been alive. Emmett Till would have still been alive if this was the greatest country in the world. But it's not. But he's not. So all this bullshit about, these identity politics and this posturing and this performative wokeness needs to stop, because this performative wokeness does not mean shit until you actually do substantive changes that will actually affect the material conditions of our lives. If it's not going to happen, then get the fuck out of the way.
Nicely said. All right, Ron, what you got to say?
Real quick, thank you to Skewt Fun Bunny, who also just donated to us.
Man, what the fuck can I say after y'all niggas? Like, bro, I don't even know. Like, this is why I'm so. I ain't even about to say happy. Let me that shit real quick, and I'm gonna tell y'all.
I need what Rome is on right
I actually am to have these great minds around me, because sometimes I don't even have to say nothing. Y'all niggas just read my motherfucking mind. I was just writing a comment. JB kicking that shit. He kicking that shit. He kicking that shit. And sometimes me being like, man, like I was born and raised in Detroit, and I've been through everything. I done seen all of my schools get knocked down. Every last school I walked in, they all are dust. And I've been through hell up here, man. And sometimes I don't know how to say it professionally. I don't know how to cuss you out professionally. I would literally tell you everything that comes to my mind. But it's great to have these great minds around me. Jackie, CJ, MMA, like, dog, this is an all-star. This is some all-star shit, and I'm grateful. But let me start riding your dick. But
we love you, Rome. We love you.
Man, I love y'all more, man. I've been watching, like, JB, I don't know, this off topic. I've been watching you, bro. You know what I'm saying? No homo and no fucking stalking shit. But I've been watching you, nigga. Nigga, you was one of my first Twitter followers, bro. Like, you was out here, nigga. I remember the first suit I saw you in. It was a gray suit, black tie, white shirt. I think that was the first suit I saw you in. This was back when we just all canvassing for Bernie Sanders. Now, none of us actually talked to one another, but we was individually out here. I was watching all of you. I know who said what, who did what, and that's why when I made this call and me and MMA made these calls. We already know who to contact. We already know who's really fighting for a difference. And not you don't like I always tell people, some people are not actually, you know what I'm saying? Some people are not ground fighters. We have teachers and we have a mixture with this, with you know what I'm saying, with this podcast, with this group, with this crew, with this family, whatever y'all want to call it. This man.
We got another donation. Someone who is essentially anonymous just donated $5. Thank you. And
Thank you.
G asked, "How do I donate? Do I need a
Yeah. Thank you. Just donate to this. I don't even know how to get it off, but you know what? I still got money on Twitch that I don't know how to get off. But you know what it is? It's just love. Show your love. We're gonna show our love, and I'm gonna be in your city. We're gonna be in your city. But the more you donate, the more we can actually get out there. The more that we can actually not crash on this website. You know, we can actually buy a PC. You know,
Ain't that something?
yeah, you know. But Jackie gonna take care of that, and I know we just some niggas from the hood.
And we got another
Like,
one, Terry Larkin.
We just some niggas
Once
from
it
the
rains, it
hood.
pours.
But at the end of the day, we are human beings. We all are human beings. We all come from different backgrounds, but we all can relate to you. We all can relate to you because we all are victims of the Democratic and the Republican Party. We know how things go. We know how things work on the ground because we've been here for years. And this is why you are here. This is why we are here.
You know how you first got on my radar, bro?
Y'all niggas don't even have to actually listen to us because y'all know what we are already going to tell you, but that's the love.
I want to speak about Rome
and I
for
appreciate that
for a couple minutes.
But that's all I'm going to say, y'all. Because I'm drinking. I've been drinking. But you know what? I love y'all niggas, man. I never take advantage of any of this. I never, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on my way to Florida. Right after this live is off, I'm going to be at the fucking airport. And I'm going to be in Florida in a couple of hours feeding the homeless. And it's only because of y'all. So
There's a comment that we might want to talk about. Vampire Hunter D said, FYI, LA is boosting police funds. Same will happen nationwide. We are all pawns in a game we can't play.
Of course. Nigga, LA boosts their fucking police funds every year. Every year.
What's the end game? Like that's why I'm asking. Like, this is what made capitalism so scary. There seems to be no end game. So how much are we to keep increasing our police budgets? There was a good story, and Ryzen did a good job covering this on how the FBI manufactured terrorist plots. How pretty much they use informants and they radicalize a lot of Muslims who otherwise would never got into the game in the first place. So there was an attack that once again Ryzen had a good breakdown on this, where the FBI pretty much manufactures these terrorist incidents. And they do this because this is how they justify their budgets. They always got to be a boogeyman. They always got to be a bad guy. Why do we continue to ramp up tensions with Russia and China to the point where you have experts that say we are closer to nuclear war than we was in the height of the Cold War? Because you got people raising alarm like, guys, like the doomsday clock, we are on the path of nuclear war, and this is something that no one's talking about. They do this because they have to justify the funds that are sent to those industrial complexes. So the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex, they always need to justify itself because it's essentially a jobs program. It's a highly inefficient jobs program. So what socialists like us want to do, we want a straight up jobs program. There was a viral tweet I highly agree with because there's a lot of people that are under the illusion that there's not important work that ever had to be done. Even if we have this ideal society, there always will be work that has to be done. But the thing is, we advocate for universal job programs that pay a living wage and pay a wage where you can live, not just a living wage, because I don't advocate for a living wage anymore. This is how far left I went. I don't advocate for a living wage. I advocate for a thriving wage. Fuck a living wage. We should have when you have billionaires making, I think the last one was 1.6 trillion in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
We have income inequality as high as it is right now. Why are we stuck just asking for a living wage? We should be asking for a thriving wage. Yeah, $22 an hour. Yeah, that's a good living wage. But you know, $30 an hour, that's a thriving wage. 40 bucks an hour is a thriving wage. This is the kind of stuff we should be asking for. That's why I'm at Overton Windows.
We have another donation, and Gina G. So there's another unverified user gave us a donation. Thank you. Gina G just subscribed to us on Patreon. And
thank you.
Shion asked what our Patreon is because he just said,
I'll put it back in the YouTube chat. And I put the link to the Patreon in the YouTube chat, but if you're not on the YouTube side, is patreon.com/Fred Hampton Leftist, spelled exactly how it sounds. Just make sure you capitalize at the beginning of every word. But go ahead, RJ. I think you have something to say, right?
Yeah, I was going to actually. We brought up 3 points. I think it's kind of fair we break them down.
Yeah, we're on the long one, huh?
Yeah. So to break down the first part about the military-industrial complex, what we all have to memorize and keep in mind is that there's a saying that if you can't make money during war, you can't flat out make money. So the whole idea of even why we have these continuous wars is because it profitizes for the corporations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you look at what happened in the Middle East with America's imperialism, is they're only going to keep doing those wars in those specific areas unless it's profitable. That's why there's this joke that our leftist friends say is, why is this country in the middle of all their military bases? Well, there's a reason why it's there, is because there's a commodity that we want to exploit and to prop up our own economy, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're there. So that's why, and also too, there's a second part. That first part I just explained is throughout all the world history of why the military-industrial complex and corporatism, especially in America, functions. There's a second part now, which is the cultural side. If you look at American history, the 70s with the anti-war movement, you kind of have that same little bit of affiliation now. So the establishment, what they're trying to do, they're recognizing, okay, this war is totally unpopular in Afghanistan. Let's try to find some other place in the world we can fuck over, take their natural resources, exploit, bomb, and kill. That is nowhere near as unpopular as we were before. So that's why you have now this mode where Biden's going to say, okay, we're going to pull out of Afghanistan by the time of September 11th. There's 2 ways it can happen. They double down, which is another possibility, or they leave and they go to China. And the reason why they're trying to go after China is even under the Trump presidency, with the start of COVID-19, which really accelerated it, because most people don't realize before, Trump has been trying to go after China really since he became president. But it didn't escalate until COVID-19, because the entire right-wing Republican Party was using COVID-19 as a tool to get at China, as a catalyst to really for America to be more imperialistic to China, to take their natural resources and to bomb them as well. So I think that's the context we need to add for that conversation. And I kind of forgot the other 2 pieces you made. I can just explain it real quick. Nick's mic is off. Nick, you muted yourself.
Yeah, Nick and Rome have muted themselves. So
it's cool.
I want to listen. I want to.
Okay. Yeah, Nick, what was the other
I was saying, I was trying to see if there anything else you guys want to chime in on that. Any other comment, Jackie?
I was going to finish your 2 points.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
No,
I'm sorry,
RJ. And then I'll
what was the last 2 points you made? I was going to actually explain upon it further.
I was talking about how the military-industrial complex and the prison-industrial complex is essentially an inefficient jobs program.
The jobs program. So
yeah,
the jobs program and the living, not the living wage, but better than a living wage. I think really the federal jobs program is something we should definitely not only bring back, but enhance even further. But here's the methodology. A federal jobs program that offers the exact same benefits, the exact same pay, the exact same job opportunities as the private industry is not beneficial for the working class people. What do you mean, RJ? The whole point of having a federal jobs program, even in the 1930s, 1940s, with the Great Depression and World War II, is if regular working people would rather work for the government with a higher pay, with higher benefits, with a pension, so that when you leave the workforce, you have something to depend on. Private enterprise will get upset and they'll raise their wages and benefits. Okay. But if you yourself is only advocating for a federal jobs program that meets the exact same level as private industry, you're actually helping the corporations in general, because due to the right wing fear mongering we have about federal jobs programs, about unions in general, you're playing into their hands. So I'm not for a federal jobs program if it's not better than private enterprise. So that's how we can actually drag things to the left. That's why people were sympathetic in general to Social Security, Medicare as well, because they saw that, hey, the government can do some things for me. So if the government can do these things and employ me, allow me to feed my family, give me health care, give me a pension, so when I get old, I can die with respect, then damn it, the private enterprise should do as well. So that puts the ball in their court. So that's what
Actually,
we should do.
RJ, this actually goes in line with what I just read in the book by Stephanie Kilton, The Deficit Myth. She actually talks about a federal jobs program that where their compensation is better than private industry. So that actually makes it so that the minimum wage is actually set at a higher rate. So then private companies will have to match that if they want to get competitive people into their industry. So that actually goes in line with what you're saying, according to the belief in modern monetary theory.
Yeah, exactly. And the last point that Nick made too, of really about the living wage, instead of having a living wage where you're barely making it versus you being underwater drowning. If you look at really how much our grandparents and our parents made back in the 60s and 70s, the buying power is at least 50% less now if you convert it into today's dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to revamp how we look at really the laws put in place to what the wage system is. I believe we are still under the functioning system where in the 1950s, one parent household could feed the entire family, car, house note, right? So I believe we're still under that tax code and tax system. And if you look at today, two people with a kid can barely even make it. So I think we need to change those laws on the books, which lets those corporations off the hook in which how they feed their workers. And we need to close these loopholes with how the minimum wage is enacted as well. So apparently, if you're under the age of 18, you could legally pay someone below minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
There's also plenty other exemptions. So we need to get rid of those and make those better, as well as having really a more of a profitable wage, which allows someone not only to just feed themselves, clothe themselves, pay for the house note, but actually to really profitize as well. Because working class people, yes, we make our money and our commodity off of our homes, right? And then we can sell it to make a profit. But there should be other ways in which working class people could do something, right? The side hustle shouldn't be the main hustle. It defeats the purpose. That's just two jobs. The whole point of why our grandparents and parents made it is because, yes, their main hustle was their passion, but their side hustle was something they can do to make extra on the cash, right? So that's actually the floor, right? But the problem is now that is the basement. So we need to actually raise the level in which we're talking about wealth and living. And that's kind of all I have to say after that.
That's a good breakdown. I'm glad you kind of reminded me of another point I wanted to make that got stuck in my rant, because I was saying how the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex, they operate as a very inefficient jobs program. The very funny thing is, if you push an imperialist enough on our gross military spending and the strategies of U.S. imperialism, how we failing meaning we invested all our resources into endless wars to end terrorism. Meanwhile, we have terrorist groups that are stronger than the start of the war on terror. So that's objectively an L. But when you push them on the merits of military spending, I have done this before, because I actually canvassed and I talked to a lady who was explaining to me how she wanted us to spend more on military because they come from a military family. And I actually went over, because I had to explain to her that we spend a lot of money on the military, but it's not going to you guys. That's why I say this is an inefficient jobs program, because for one, it's a jobs program that you can't even hire everybody with. Anyway, back to the point, because if you push them, they said, well, anyway, we spend all this money because do you know how much jobs are tied to weapons, and do you understand we just slashed the military budget? How many people will lose their jobs and the economic fallout for that? If you push enough, they will admit that the reason why we spend that much money is because it's a job program, getting people jobs, feeding their family. Now, if you want to have a jobs program, there's a lot of ways you can do that. But doing that through military and through police is inefficient for the first reason I just explained. Because for one, you can't give it to everyone. Not everyone is suitable to join the military. So if you want to have a jobs program, you got to have a jobs program that is available to as many people in the public as possible. So for one, it doesn't accomplish that. Secondly, it doesn't provide a higher quality of life for a lot of people who join that. Why did I say that? 22 U.S. veterans kill themselves every day. Why did 22 veterans kill themselves every day? Because they were sold a false promise. If you serve in our wars, if you serve in the U.S. military, we will take care of you. Then they don't. I know because my father has military benefits, and he explained to me the hell that he went through to get those. They have entire departments that are designed to limit how much benefits that you can get, same as health insurance, where they make more money based on how much they can deny you.
How the fuck these niggas, Nick? You don't see these niggas talking shit, talking about. Well, I don't know if they talking shit, but not everyone.
I don't know what comments you're saying.
It's suited for fast food. Not everyone is, you know what I'm saying, is suited to be a banker. Bro, I worked, you know what I'm saying, for tax corporations. I worked for fast food industries. I can say I got some type of PTSD, but no, it's just because y'all niggas ain't shit. But it ain't about me blowing. I ain't never fucking blow up nobody with no fucking grenade in the fucking Wendy's burger or in a fucking Junior Bacon sandwich. It's a difference. So listen and stop trying to be a fucking asshole. Now, what you was saying, my nigga?
I didn't know what you said, but we have Rome here to attack all you guys in the comments who think you can pop off. I usually sometimes miss them, but I was explaining why a lot of people justify these budgets, and I think the reason I got into it initially, we were talking about living wages, and I was playing. I don't know how we got on the topic, but we on the topic. Well, I was explaining why, because when you push them enough. And you force them to explain why we should spend that much on military, they will eventually admit that there's too much riding on that military budget. But instead of that, you can have a more efficient jobs program. They're like, oh, well, you got to join the military. You can give you health care. We can get health care to everyone and save money. The fuck? So we can have a UBI. So people join the military so they can get benefits. Well, we can just have those benefits. And instead of just having those military jobs, we can just have ththose jobs. So you see what I mean when I say it's an ineffective, like a lot of people, they were pushing for an ineffective version of an economic system that we are already advocating for on the left. But they are doing it in the guise of pushing an authoritarian police state. We gotta have the giant budget for an authoritarian police state because that brings in jobs, that brings in revenue. That's how Mark feeds his family.
The one thing America is scared of. Oh shit. Somebody said let Jackie speak.
Okay, Jackie, go. Jackie,
That's Meg.
Go ahead.
Meg always get on my ass. All right, Jackie.
I ain't about to be
for Meg.
Wait, just so everybody knows, like, I'm the one who puts your comments on the screen, and I'm holding on to them because there are two comments that I want to mention. So if you're commenting now and your comment doesn't go up, it's not because I don't like you. I'm literally not seeing it because I paused the chat because there are two that I want to talk about. So don't think I hate you or anything. I'm not seeing anybody's. I'm not seeing. There are literally 36 comments I haven't seen. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, Jackie, go ahead. We don't want to get canceled.
Okay. Elijah Huggins asked, "Y'all feel like race itself is I think it's supposed to be the cause of all this, or the class difference the cause of racial problems?"
So it's capitalism.
No,
I missed it.
As long as you are below people's tax brackets, as long as you are below the poverty line, as long as you are, poor enough to get food stamps and any type of welfare, any type of safety net in America, then yeah, you are one of us. It don't matter your skin color. It's more than fucking whites in this bitch. Y'all might be the majority in America, but y'all are not the majority everywhere. And y'all
I think he was black.
The majority of people that on welfare. So hey, it don't matter what fucking no. They use you just like they use us. But the difference is they use y'all to feel like you are better than us because you are white. That's
I
the
do.
difference. That's all.
This is RJ in here.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that because you can make a case in other countries in the world that it is an overall class issue, and in some other countries it's purely a race issue. But America is a unique evil. It's a combination of race and class itself.
There we go.
And even Lyndon Johnson said back then, I don't know the direct quote, but I can explain to you the scenario. So the scenario is basically this: you have the white rich oligarch elites, you have some bootlickers, in the middle class or the working class who like them. But here's how the divide starts. So the rich oligarch elite, they treat the white working class like trash. They cheat them out just like any other person of color. But here's the difference: that's when race comes in. So when race comes in, the white rich oligarchs elites, they use this different type of racial divide to divide the white working class versus the black working class and pit them against each other. So the white working class, as long as they're barely surviving and doing better than the black, the Latino, or whatever the person of color is, they deem that as successful. While as the people of color, they're the ones still struggling, while the rich oligarch elites make out like fat cats with all the cash, all the power.
So basically,
and
you
all the
saying these
prestige.
niggas are house niggas? They
I mean-
house niggas. Like, their ideology is a house nigga. Can you who else take up for Master and speak up for him and do his fucking actions for him? No, Master, you ain't got to lift a finger. I'll depress these niggas. I'll oppress these niggas for you. Put me in the front line and I'll show them how it's done. Is that what you saying, RJ? I'm just trying to break it down for a dumb nigga like me,
Yeah, I mean, you're factual. I just clean it up. Yeah, you're right. Look, Rome is. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Jackie.
would agree. So to me, you can't, like you just said, in the U.S., you can't separate the two because when they're like, for example, a lot of people, when we talk about the police killing black people will say, "Oh, the police kill more white people." Well, yeah, because there are more white people. Like there are so many more. Obviously, they're going to kill more. If they actually number to number killed more black people, that's a way bigger problem we have right now because we're only 12% of the population. So, but per capita, they actually killed more black people. But when they're killing white people, they're not killing rich white people. They're killing poor white people. So you can't really, what happens to one of us happens to all of us because they will literally sacrifice the white poor to get to black people, and they will sacrifice black people to harm all poor people. We're linked. So even if you're black and you're wealthy, or if you're white and you're poor, we're all the same. So to me, you can't really separate that because, again, there are policies that are designed to take out black people that will harm more white people, but they don't care. And there are policies that are designed to take out poor people that will harm black people that aren't even poor. So to me, it's baked into the cake. Like once you, it's like that saying, I actually got it from Legion, from the TV show Legion. Like if you ever made a stew, you chop up all the ingredients and you put it together. After you've put the stew together, can you take out the carrot? The whole carrot? No. The U.S. right now is that stew. You can't take the ingredients have been chopped up and mixed together. You can't ever take out that whole carrot again. That's how I see it.
I'm gonna see if I can play this video because I think this is a good way to segue to this.
Okay, then after that, I have one more comment to read. So go ahead.
No, read the comment first.
Oh, okay. U.S. House of Reps passed statehood for Washington, D.C. AOC and Rashida Tlaib did not vote. What are your thoughts on the Senate trying to pass this, and will Biden veto?
Okay, I can give my quick thoughts on this because I've been reading about this. So here's the thing. The Democrats like to wrap their bodies in the cloak of woke. So the reason, my reasoning to that is look, this is a pure power grab. Let's just be fucking honest. That the Senate split 50-50. I'm for it, by the way. So I'm not against it for anyone that want to come after me. I'm actually for this. I just wish they would fucking say it. We knew what the Republicans doing by packing the Supreme Court. That was a pure power grab. They fucking said it and they fucking did it. So I just wish the Democrats would do it, but they're not. They're cucks. They're not gonna actually go through it. And Biden's certainly not gonna push it in the Senate because he's an institutionalist. I mean, he even listened to a fucking parliamentarian that's not elected bureaucrat about what to pass. So that's the thing. And the culture part of it is that they love to use, black people, people of color. Yes, because a lot of black people do live in DC. So they're using that to disguise it. I just wish they'll be more vocal about this power grab they're trying to do, because that's what this is. It adds 2 United States senators into the Senate. DC is, if you look at the election for the presidential election, 90% are Democrats. So I just wish to be fucking honest for once. If they were fucking honest with their power grab, people would support them more. They're such fucking cucks. That's why I don't really support them. And especially when they even do something good, it can be very controversial because it's going to pass in the House. That's the fucking strategy. It's been the strategy since Obama. Pass in the House. See, we're for you. Oh my God. Get into the Senate. Oh my gosh, we got to keep voting. So that's my initial comment on that.
Am I the only one seeing the sunlight on this nigga mouth? They make it look like a cum shot, or is
what?
What happened?
I've been trying to fix my shades.
He got the sun on his mouth. It's making it look like a cum shot every time he talks. Baby, am I tripping?
Oh, yes.
There you go. Right there.
Hold on, is that there? Hold on.
No, nigga, move over. There you go.
Oh, yeah, right there. Oh, hold on. Where's that even coming from?
No,
hold on, let me fix that.
The whole time. I'm just fucking.
It's better. It's better now.
Okay, is this better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, that's fine. Because I'm in front of my window. I'm trying to. Oh, it's back. Hold on.
This shit look like a cum shot the whole time. This nigga.
Hold on.
This nigga talking his shit, bro. I hear you, my nigga.
It's cool. This is a deeply serious political show, guys. Deeply serious.
So it's a way to go off topic. I had a point. I think everyone forgot. But
what's that point? I have a point too. I don't remember.
Let me go back. I'm going back on mute. Fuck yeah.
We have a comment that says, Rome, we don't know what strain you're on, but you definitely need to let someone know. They're from Maine, so that's a comment. But
nigga, I'm on like 4 different strains. What the hell? Nigga, I mix my blunts. I am not no lightweight. If you gonna smoke,
let me chime in with this. Because I think this is a good time to break into this video. I wanted to share because it comes back to the point that Jackie made when she was like, "The police are killing y'all too," meaning the working class, poor whites. That is. It's very interesting how when you look at the politics of black leftists, what we actually trying to accomplish will help the white working class too. Mm-hmm. So let me. Oh, I didn't have it pulled up here. But we didn't have her on the show. I'm trying to remember her now. Oh, her Twitter was @RedIsAri. I wanted to show this. Hopefully we can get this thing to work properly on here. Because she has a really good take on this. And this is kind of how you can communicate with white brothers and sisters. Because I think this is kind of the crux of what Jackie was saying. Like, if you look at a lot of things that we want to accomplish, it will help you guys out too. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Can't hear it. Did you unplug your headphones?
Can y'all hear that?
Nope.
No. Did you unplug your headphones?
Is that what I gotta do?
Yeah.
All right. So let me try that.
When they said "we the people," but if you aren't white, rich.
Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I say you guys gotta tell me. I can't tell.
Enlarge the screen.
If you look at the side of us, I gave you the thumbs up, so we can hear it.
White people that were poor in 1776, when they said "we the people," but if you aren't white, rich, and own fucking property, you can't vote. Those same white people are the ones that are out here fighting against a democracy, fighting for a president that didn't actually fight for any of their rights, fighting for a president that also fucked up their checks and their taxes, fighting for a president that didn't give them health care, fighting for a president that didn't give a fuck about their education. They're out here literally fighting against their own interests. That is what they're fighting for. And at this point, I think the only thing they're fighting for is white supremacy. It's to uphold white supremacy. Because they don't have shit. Just like we don't have shit, they don't have shit. Only they have is their white skin. So that shit, it's not enough. Because at the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, and all the rich people leave to go to Mars when our planet is burning, they're going to leave you too. Because they don't give a fuck about you either. The fucking Republican Party and the Democratic Party have been using white people, poor white people especially, as fucking fodder to make sure that their fucking election chances can stay up. And we're tired of that shit. Like, we want them to know that we are fighting for their children's right to exist. We are fighting for their children's right to be educated. We're fighting for their children's right to have health care as well. Like, when we all get these rights, it's not just going to be just black people. It's going to be every marginalized group and white people as well that are going to get benefit from black liberation. So they can be out here fighting against our interests all they want. We're going to win because we're on the right side of fucking history, not them.
Oh, just for contextual purposes, this isn't a new video, but this video came out in December during the Black Lives Matter protests in D.C. The reason why we know this because the street says Black Lives Matter on there, in which Mayor Bowser did. So just for context.
So I love that video. I think that video kind of sums up our politics perfectly.
Yes.
That's why I'm very happy that I think we're gonna have her on Saturday. Either way, very soon. Because these are the voices that we want to amplify. The reason why I bring that up because Jackie brought up like, yeah, I mean, they're killing poor white people too. That's why I always find it interesting when you have conservatives who say, by the way, they are wrong, but there's two ways you can approach it. You can prove them factually wrong, or you can just take their lies and roll with it. They will say, well, you guys say that police are racist, but they kill white people too. I mean, you could easily bring up the fact that we're only 13% of the population. How if you actually look at the percentage of arrests, Black Americans, Indigenous people are killed at a much higher rate. Or you can simply go with a route like this. Okay, white people are being killed up by the police. Why don't you guys care? Like, so when we are fighting for ending the police state, that means it will help you guys too. And another good point about that clip. And this is why I don't really focus on the Republican Party that much and the conservatives, because when you look at their entire politics, it's quite literally just simply white identity politics in the current day. Why that is? It's because the political breakdown that I give you guys every day on this show. When you look at the very important, crucial policy details, they are pushing the same thing that the Democrats are pushing.
Just like this woman have said, just like this woman, she was addressing.
Rome cut out.
There's
Rome, start your rant over because you cut out.
Just like this woman was saying, she was talking to poor white people, right? Poor white people are going to benefit from a black revolution just as well as black people will. The people that we are around, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all move in fast cities, but people rob white people, you know? Who would benefit more than black people having their own money? Than black people having opportunities? Than black people having, come on, who would benefit more? Is it me or you? We don't know because we all benefiting from it. And a black revolution is good for everyone in this nation, in these borders. A black revolution is good for every last one of us, as long as it's good for either your health or your pockets. Because let's not act like all these motherfuckers make money off of us, because they do. From the beauty supplies to the banks, they all make money off of us.
Let's I got this. I want to add this in. I want to put JB in. I want to get his thoughts on what we're discussing, because this is something that the liberals are very smart when they weaponize this. A lot of people think our ruling class are dumb, but they're not. So a lot of liberals will attack Bernie Sanders during the course of the campaign because they say, "Oh, why Bernie Sanders doesn't have a black agenda? Bernie Sanders is not speaking to the black community." So that's why the second op-ed I wrote was a breakdown on why Medicare for all is the most pro-black policy. I will reframe the issue and let people know the policy we're supporting. They are pro-black, but they will also help everybody. Because if you look at who will benefit the most from a lot of these progressive policies, whether it be an increased minimum wage, whether it be canceling student loan debt, when it comes to providing free housing, when it comes to UBI, Medicare for all, it most likely will impact
Nick,
black
put it in the negative. Put it in the negative, Nick. Put it in the negative. Put it in the negative. When Joe Biden took the cap off of insulin, who's that going to affect the most?
Exactly.
All right, then. Put it in a positive and a negative. Who is it going to affect the most? Black people. Because we have the most diabetes out of all these motherfuckers. We don't even have health care to even take care of ourselves.
Yeah. So my point was they would take the solidarity out of it, and it's a very good, it's a great strategy because it's a method of divide and conquer. And honestly, I'm shocked because a lot of dumb progressive black people fell for it. Those are the people who like Bernie don't have a black agenda. Like, bro, look at the policy he support and look at how that will actually affect the community. The difference is that affects everyone, and that's why the liberal elites they targeted that. And they're like, see, Bernie, he don't care about black people. You know,
Nick, I think you're missing a point here. I think if you listen, you were with our interview with Sabby Sabs, the issue you're describing isn't just exclusive to liberals. If you look at the black community as well, what Sabby Sabs, friend of the show, mentioned is that the Bernie campaign failed to actually explain to how it would benefit the black community as well, and also have targeted policies for the black community because that's what they respond to. So what you said in overall, I agree with in theory, but in terms of how it's implemented, it's not always mutually exclusive. So that's kind of what I have to say about that.
You have people like Nina Turner that were trying to make the message. The thing is, the media wasn't our friend. I was in South Carolina, and we were trying to talk to a lot of black families, and that was the message we were trying to push. It's just Jim Clyburn just wiped all our work away. But don't get me wrong, I'm not. There is a legitimate criticism because when you look at the top of the campaign and look how it ran on the national stage, they could have framed the issue better. I'm just speaking on my personal experience of being in South Carolina. Where I was at, we had a very targeted message. Like I mentioned it when we were talking to Ron Pacone. I mentioned broadband internet with them, with black voters in South Carolina, because that's something they cared about. Was everyone doing that on the Bernie campaign? I don't think they was. So I think you're right, RJ. I don't disagree with what you and Sabby are saying. I just think the content was there. It just wasn't communicated in the right way. Let's get JB and after Rome because I want to get JB thoughts on
this. No, JB, and then we have to wrap up because we have 7 minutes left.
All right. So really quick, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
We were talking about white identity politics. I brought up I tossed it to you and then you got disconnected and then we temporarily shifted that. Do you got anything you want to add to the conversation? I don't have a question. We about to wrap up here soon anyway.
Identity politics, kill this shit. You got it, man.
Okay. Oh. Okay, so the thing is that I think you guys were talking about how referring to the Bernie campaign, and how it failed. Identity politics is only as good as the policies that implemented that help boost it up. I mean, so for somebody to push just identity only, it's just really not going to help us. I mean, it's just a surface benefit, but it only leads to nothing being done unless you actually put tangible benefits for people who actually claim that identity. Then it's only going to stay detrimental to us until they actually implement tangible policies.
Okay, I want to say something really quick. Someone said, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm assuming it's Sean. I'm not sure because it's Xian. I have no idea. Bernie, not specifically saying this will benefit black people, was intentional. Bernie did say that his policies benefit black people. He said it during the debate.
I
remember
the anchors turned it against him. He actually did.
Okay. Climate change, when she was like, when that one lady said, "Oh, we're talking about people of color and black people here." So am I, because when I had to make a tweet. It was about 2 years ago now. 70% of the people that lost their shit during Hurricane Katrina was 70% black. 70% black. So when we talking about climate change, when we talking about hurricanes, when we talking about tornadoes, listen. When we talking about rising sea levels in states like Florida, listen.
Yeah.
Because black people really be in them. Bro, y'all are the majority, but we really run this bitch. And we really.
Well, it's a case of the rising tide lifts all boats. If you help black people, everybody's going to benefit. Same thing with Native Americans. You help Native Americans, everybody's going to benefit.
Every time, because you know what's going to go broke? Let me go broke. Let me go broke. Let me go broke. I got 2 kids and I got mortgages. Let me go broke. All of y'all are my fucking victims. I don't give a motherfuck.
And as
All
we
of
just
y'all.
said,
You know what? Give me my reparations. Y'all don't want to give me my reparations, then y'all are going to be my motherfucking victims. How do you want it? Do you want it like this or that? Because I'm tired of playing with you. It's either I take it or you give it. I'm tired of playing.
and as
Well,
we
and
said, we mentioned that like Jackie said, rising tide lift all boats. The liberal class knew that. And that was I just now remember why I was about to ask JB, but we kind of talked about it in the subject already. But we see why the liberal
3
class
minutes.
yeah, I got you guys. They wanted to prevent people from understanding that. That's why they framed it in a way where they're like, "Oh, you got to talk about the black issues." So, when Bernie Sanders bring up his broad policy, they're like, "Oh, he ain't talking about black issues," even though he is, because they don't want people to understand that all these issues connect. Why are you not talking about Latino issues? Why are you not talking about black issues, white issues, Jewish issues? They do that because they want us to be pitted against each other. They don't want us to realize if you support Medicare for all, you are pro-black, you pro-Latino, you pro-indigenous.
mm-hmm.
If you support defund the police, you pro-indigenous, you pro-Latino, like they don't want you to realize it. They want you to compartmentalize all these issues. They want Latinos care about immigration, black care about criminal justice. You know what I
Real
mean? This is how they sheep herd people, and then you don't fight for issues that are deemed not a high priority for the community. Fuck that. I talk about immigration issues, even though I'm less likely. I'm not going to be targeted by ICE, but I talk about it anyway. I talk about U.S. imperialism, even though there's a good chance I'm probably not going to be drone strike by military. Because as leftists, this is what we need to do. This is why you should support black leftists and other people of color, because we can come from a black point of view, but I think you should listen to Latino, indigenous, Muslim people of color as well, because maybe they can say something that we don't, that we miss as a
Yeah,
Latino or as a Muslim.
yeah.
So with that
Just
said, that's why you guys should check out our uploads. We upload every single day. I appreciate you guys for checking out this live. I think was RJ about to say something?
Yeah, I was
yeah, I
going to
was
say.
about
I
to
was
say
going to.
something.
Oh, Nick, JB, go and then I go for the
Yeah, I'll
schedule.
make
Wait,
it
real
really
quick.
quick.
I want to say thank you to Julie Cisco, who just donated to us. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, one really quick. Bernie Sanders actually did have partial reparations, and that wasn't said reparations, but it was actually part of his marijuana drug policy. The reparations bill, I mean, the drug policy for marijuana would have actually freed all nonviolent drug offenders, made marijuana legal, and he also would have made a provision so that people who got out of prison would have also been taught how to run a business and given proceeds to run a business so they can actually sell marijuana legally. So therefore, it would have actually circulated money in the economy in the
The
neighborhoods
black
that
economy.
there would have been yes. So it would have circulated the black dollar. So yeah, in a sense, Bernie Sanders did actually have a partial reparations bill. I mean policy.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, we have literally 1 minute left.
JB,
I just want to say
JR,
thank
check it
you
out.
to everyone who was listening, and I've seen a ton of comments about reparations, people on both sides. So perhaps next week we can talk about reparations. Also, a lot of people are asking us a lot of questions. You guys can go to at FHL or at Fred Hampton Left on Twitter, and you can either send us that to our DMs or you can send it to us individually, and you can send us questions that you want to talk about. But unfortunately, because people are asking questions right now, we have a minute left. We don't really have time to
We don't
to
have
hit all
time.
of those.
Let's
She
go.
extended us
So
for 5 minutes.
Okay.
for real quick, why doesn't everybody go around and give their
Because
where
we
you
on the
can be
radio.
found?
7.
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm
What
the
was the question?
scheduler. Just to wrap up, just to tell us what we're
Okay.
doing and our apps and stuff. So
Okay.
for me, my new app is Comrade Curly got suspended, so that's another conversation. But in terms of our schedule, tomorrow I'll be having Danny Haifong from the Black Agenda Report. We'll be going live Friday at 6 p.m. Saturday we may have a special edition of the FHL show. We'll be talking about that. On Sunday, JB and I will have a crossover episode with the guys of the Vanguard. So that'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be a lot of fun. Someone else.
Shit, I ain't got shit. All I'm gonna say is catch me if you can. I'm the motherfucking gingerbread man. Straight up. I get kicked off of every site. It don't matter what you follow me on. One day you might wake up and my page will not exist. But guess what? I'm gonna be in your city one day because I am a real human being and I really help people. I'm really out here teaching. So all this website shit, it really don't matter to me. So, like I said, catch me if you can. I'm the gingerbread man. I ain't plugging none of my shit. You should know me. You should know me by now. If you don't, that's your fault.
TB.
My Twitter handle is at JBFont. That's so you guys can check me out. Like RJ said, on Sunday we'll be doing a Fred Hampton Lefts, the Vanguard crossover. So be sure to tune in that on 1 p.m. Eastern. And thank you.
And Nick.
Only thing I have to say, I put a lot of my projects on pause to push Fred Hampton Leftist. If you're on my Substack, stay tuned. I apologize to you guys because I haven't released anything in a few weeks because I stopped writing in order to focus a little bit more on this. But I'm gonna get back into that, and you're gonna have some content on my Substack very soon. But the most important thing is to keep following the content FHL. We have a lot of great things planned. If you are on the YouTube side, please hit the bell. If you're on Twitch side, just subscribe as well. That's how we grow because we can't rely on the algorithm. We need to rely on our people to check in on us as we upload and possibly share it to friends as well. So that's all I ask. I would love to see this thing grow into a very influential lefty voice. So we need you guys' help to make that happen. So just please support Fred Hampton Leftist.
And for me, for my personal Twitter, you can find me at PolsJackie, or you can go to at Fred Hampton Left because we're all there. I also do a podcast for Fred Hampton Leftist that's on Anchor and Spotify and like quite a few other places. It's just the Fred Hampton Left. Actually, no, it's with the S. It's Fred Hampton Leftist. I've been really busy lately, and I think the next thing to come out is going to be my interview with Michael Tenavasa, and he's known as at non-voting felon on Twitter. And I had a really interesting talk with him. It's going to come out on Patreon first, and then it's going to be live on Monday, and also on Mondays from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm doing a live stream called Nerdolitics, where I marry nerd culture and politics, and that should be fun. And I think RJ, you're going to be on there on Monday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah. So if you like Star Wars, Marvel, Harry Potter, DC, whatever nerd thing you're into, and you like politics, we marry those two. So anything else before we go from everybody?
Nope, we're good.
Love y'all. I love you. I love all you motherfuckers. I'm drunk. I love all y'all niggas.
We love you.
That's all I really got to say is I love y'all. Y'all stay up. It's a tough world, but you gotta be tough to get through it. And we need y'all strong, man.
And yes, hi Q Andy, we can see you.
But
All right.
we're gonna need y'all as strong as y'all can be. But we are on the front line. You can trust that. You can trust us.
Yeah, we can see all your guys' comments, by the way. And when you engage with us live, we love to read your comments, so keep it coming. Go ahead, Jackie.
All right. That's it. So for Sean, I'm gonna say said please link the Twitter handle. Please link the handles on the Twitter, please. Search for Fred Hampton Leftist and on Twitter, and you will find all of us by name, like in the bio. All of our individual Twitter handles are up there. So you guys should be able to see us, and there are a bunch of comments coming in now. Thank you. Yes, they're all linked at Fred Hampton Left. At Fred Hampton Left is our link on Twitter, and then all of us are on there, so you can just follow all of us. And thanks, guys. There will be content tomorrow. I think it's RJ.
Yes, ma'am.
You're okay. So check us out tomorrow.